Hi there, this is Mrs. Meek, and today we're going to finish up our chemistry and biology chapter with organic chemistry. Today we're also going to talk about the 4 macromolecules of all living things. Please make sure you're taking notes and bring those to class tomorrow. All right, so this is the actual part of our unit that is considered the organic chemistry, and all organisms are made up of carbon. Organic chemistry is the study of carbon-containing compounds. All right, we have over here a carbon atom, all right, which if you look at it, it has 6 electrons. All living things have carbon, therefore life is considered carbon-based. All right, as we said earlier, there are 6 total electrons. 4 of them, though, are in the outer orbital, so 4 of those electrons can form into covalent bonds. So carbon is able to form a total of 4 covalent bonds, and its shape can range in different patterns. So the carbon compounds can be arranged into chains, branched chains, or even rings. All right, macromolecules, let's just go over a definition really quick. They are large molecules that form by joining smaller organic molecules together. A lot of times in the world of chemistry, we will refer to these as polymers. Polymers are molecules that are made up of repeating units of identical compounds. All right, there's a lot of natural polymers in the world. There's also a lot of synthetic chemical polymers in the world. For example, plastic and rubber, those are all synthetic polymers. There are polymers also in your body, and that's what we're going to talk about today, these macromolecules. All right, the first macromolecule is carbohydrates. Carbohydrates are compounds that contain carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen atoms. They are the primary energy source for organisms. It seems that right now there's a big push to eliminate or to have a low-carb diet, but for teenagers, carbohydrates are a very good source of fuel. All right, so carbohydrates generally have a formula, 1 carbon to 2 hydrogens to 1 oxygen. Now, there could be repetitive units of this basic formula. So the N superscript over here refers to the number of units in that chain. All right, monosaccharides are carbohydrates that have 3 to 7 units. These are very simple carbohydrates. An example of this is glucose or sugar. Disaccharides are 2 of these monosaccharides that are joined together, and examples of those are sucrose and lactose. Polysaccharides are much longer chains of carbohydrates, and an example of this is glycogen. All right, so if you look at this here, this is one of the monosaccharides. All right, there are these CH2O groups. All right, and they are combined together to form a ring, and 1 ring is considered a monosaccharide. So this is a carbon ring, and 1 carbon ring forms a monosaccharide. If 2 of these carbon rings join together, all right, it's called a disaccharide. And polysaccharides are when multiple carbon rings join together. All right, carbohydrates are primary energy sources for organisms. Some organisms have specific carbohydrates. For example, cellulose has the job of being a support structure in cell walls of plants. We, however, cannot digest cellulose, and if you look at it, it's these very long chains of these polysaccharides that join together to form the cell wall. Another example of a carbohydrate is the chitin that makes up the outer shell of arthropods. All right, the next of our 4 main macromolecules are lipids. Lipids are made mostly of carbon and hydrogen, but they also are composed of fatty acids or a glycerol. All right, lipids are typically fats, oils, and waxes. The primary function of lipids in your body is to store energy. All right, so the basic structure of a lipid includes a fatty acid tail that is composed of hydrogen and carbon atoms that are bonded together by single or double bonds. Let's take a look at a lipid, for example. All right, so here is showing you a phospholipid. And a phospholipid has a polar head, and then on this one, it has these 2 fatty acid tails. All right, so this polar head, all right, is got a charge. And then this non-polar tails have no charge because of the type of bonding that goes on. That's going to become important when we start talking about cells and cell walls. So phospholipids, these specifically, make up the cell wall of all living things. All right, fats versus oils. All right, a triglyceride is solid at room temperature, and if it is solid at room temperature, we consider it to be a fat. If it is liquid at room temperature, then it is an oil. So that's just a distinction between two terms there. All right, different types of lipids. So when you read labels, or you probably hear a lot in the news, there's a lot of talk about different kinds of saturated, unsaturated, and polyunsaturated fats. So three main different types of lipids. All right, saturated fats have single bonds between every carbon molecule. That means it is totally saturated with hydrogen. No more hydrogen could fit in this molecule. Unsaturated fats have at least one double bond between two carbon atoms. All right, and that allows, and that means that there could be other hydrogen atoms. If we broke that bond between one of the bonds between the two carbon atoms, we could squeeze two more hydrogen atoms into this molecule. So this is considered to be unsaturated. And then if we get multiple double bonds between the carbon atoms, then it is considered to be a polyunsaturated fat. All right, trans fats are certain lipids that are man-made. They are not naturally occurring in living organisms, and we've actually come to realize that they are very bad for people's health. So most people are being told to stay away from trans fatty acids. All right. Phospholipids, as we mentioned earlier, are responsible for the structure and function of the cell membrane. And it's because these lipids are hydrophobic, they do not dissolve in water, therefore they are great barriers in biological membranes. So your body is made up of 90-some% water, all right? So it's good that we have these barriers so our contents of our cells stay protected. Other specific types of lipids in your bodies include steroids. And these, some examples are cholesterol and hormones. All right, so these are the delivery systems for some of the enzymes in your body. All right, the next major macromolecule that we're going to talk about is proteins. All right, proteins are composed of amino acids that fold into three-dimensional structures. There are 20 different essential amino acids in your body. And what we mean by essential amino acids is your body can't make the amino acids. You must ingest those 20 different amino acids because they are the building blocks that your body uses in order to make all of the proteins in your body. You have thousands of proteins in your body. Every cell has hundreds of proteins that it uses on a daily basis to carry out simple functions. Amino acids are composed of carbon and hydrogen and oxygen, but they also have another atom that we're going to see regularly, which is nitrogen. All right, nitrogen is in every amino acid, and it's something that we don't see in the other two macromolecules that we've already discussed. All right, so proteins are made up of amino acids. A lot of times on power bars, those kind of things, you'll see provides 20 different amino acids. So that's why they are essentials, because you have to ingest them. All right, proteins have three-dimensional structures due to the bonding of these amino acids, and this is what allows protein to have its specific function. Or about 15% of your total body mass is proteins. There's 10,000 or more different proteins in the cells of your body. Basically everything that you do, carrying on chemical reactions, cell growth, making up the tissue and the cells, the protein that makes up your nails, your skin, the oils on your skin, those are all composed of these amino acids. All right, and our very last macromolecule that we're going to talk about is nucleic acids. Nucleic acids are the macromolecules that store and transmit genetic information. So they are made up of these nucleotides that will form together to form a nucleic acid. There are 6 major nucleotides, all of which have 3 basic subunits. You have a phosphate group, a nitrogenous base over here, and then those two are connected by this ribose sugar. So for DNA, it's a deoxyribose sugar. For RNA, it's a ribose sugar. All right, so the three main groups are phosphate, sugar, and a nitrogenous containing base. All right, there are two main types of nucleic acids in your body. One is the DNA, and that is located in the nucleus of the cells. And this is basically your instructions. It is basically the recipe or the cookbook to create you. All right, so it controls how you grow, how you reproduce, how you adapt, how you think. All of those things are controlled by that DNA, all of your traits. RNA is a type of nucleic acid, and notice that it is single-stranded. All right, and it actually uses the information that is stored in the DNA, it makes a copy of it, and then this is what leaves the nucleus of the cell and will be made, and it'll be read and made into protein. So basically, this will be the copy that is able to exit the nucleus and go out into the cell, so that way your body can make the copies of proteins that it needs in order to carry out all life functions. All right, so this is a brief introduction of the four major macromolecules in your body. Like I said, we will talk more about them tomorrow. Please also make sure you watch the Crash Course Biology episode on biological molecules. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.